Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. The LA Auto Show recently wrapped up, and among the crowd favorites were 5 vehicles that really stole the show. Today we're diving into some of the highlights with automotive expert and the founder of Car Coach Reports, Miss Lauren Fix. You've seen her here before. In fact, you've seen her all over digital. So she's an incredible personality that brings vehicles and all things vehicles, I should say, to consumers everywhere. We are so pleased to have her on our show so she can talk to dealers about some of the highlights out there, especially at the auto show. So thank you, Lauren, for taking the time out of your schedule once again to join us on the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm very passionate about the industry. I don't think that the average consumer understands the impact of the auto industry on not just the economy, but literally everything we do. Because without automobiles, we're back in the dark ages.
You are absolutely right. And it's certainly one of the key driving forces in the economy. And to your point, people would not know what to do if they didn't have their car to sit in and go. And a lot goes into that, just getting that to that point. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the 5 vehicles that stole the show from your perspective, and what did you think gave them the edge?
The bottom line is Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia, literally, the Koreans stole the LA Auto Show because there was nothing else that even came close.
Wow.
There was other vehicle reveals, but the number one vehicle, the biggest one, was the Hyundai Ioniq 9, which is the same as the Kia EV9. We've all seen that.
Yeah.
They all have to do the 9s. Actually, they told us that they were going to call it a 7, but then they were worried that it would seem less than that of their sister company, which is Kia. I know manufacturers don't like to talk about them being related, but the fact is they are. And I've been to both of the factories, and it's super impressive cars. They've come on the scene strong. And what's interesting is you're seeing the impact against the German brands, where they used to be the benchmark to everything.
That's right.
It's now the Koreans.
Wow.
They've also hired a lot of German designers, engineers. I mean, you're seeing people from the German brands, including Porsche, have all transitioned over to the Hyundai and the Genesis line, which is now going to have Magma coming out. So we only saw one vehicle from that. It was more of the same one we've already seen.
Yeah.
But when that Magma performance line comes out, that will go against AMG, M Performance, and the RS line of the Germans. And that should be very interesting. I'm looking forward to driving them.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. So what specific 5 are the vehicles?
Well, the first one is the Hyundai Ioniq 9. They really put a big push on that. They brought media out early. We had an opportunity to get a first look, talk to the designers, see the European versions as well as the US versions, which is really important. So this is going to be their flagship all-electric 3-row SUV. Are electric SUVs hot? Well, it depends what market you're in, I would say is probably the truth in it all. And again, if you live in the upper areas where I do, in the upper cold areas of New York, electric vehicles don't do so well, especially here in Buffalo. Although they sell some, and some people want them, and you should be able to have those options. And that's one of the things we'll see with the next president coming in. You pick what works for you. You want electric, you want plug-in, you want hybrid, you want gas, diesel, all will be available. And then hydrogen will be used, although we've already seen it with BMW, and they're way ahead on it. I think it's mostly going to be used for large trucks from port to warehouse, which is probably the best use for it.
Sure. Good point.
Yep.
So, and then what are some of the others?
The Genesis GV70 is a mid-cycle refresh. There was a few changes on it. I really love the Genesis lineup, and the GV70 is one of my favorite cars. Yeah, they do a great job. And it's also going to have electrified, so they're going to have the electric version, and they're opening a new design studio in California. So that's also really important if that's means it's more U.S. made. That's really the whole bottom line.
Yeah.
The one exception to the Koreans stealing the show was the Volkswagen Tiguan, which needed a refresh.
Yeah.
We got to drive the European version with World Car of the Year awards. I actually liked it. You jump in that car, your customers will be very happy. The first thing you're going to see is a large 14-inch screen, very easy to use, a head-up display. The interior has been upgraded, which was needed. And so much I think they did on the refresh for the Tiguan. I think that's going to really help and make the Volkswagen dealers happy because it's only coming gas here to the U.S. right now.
Oh, wow.
Where the hybrid is available in Europe. So this is interesting. That 2-liter turbo engine just seems to be across the lineup of what everybody loves to use. And I thought that was interesting. Also from Kia, they showed the EV9 GT. I don't know if you need a performance 3-row SUV, but they're doing it.
Right.
They don't have a performance premium line like Genesis, so Kia's making the GT. I'm sure they'll sell some. I mean, they've got the EV6 GT. We also got to drive an early version, which we don't have a confirmation of it coming to the US, but I have a gut feeling it will. And I actually liked it better than anything in the lineup, was the Kia EV3. So it's slightly smaller. It's a 5-passenger, 2-row SUV,
Okay.
compact. I got to drive it around. So we drove European versions for World Car, and I was really impressed with it's everything that you would see on the calligraphy top of the line,
Yeah.
but in a smaller car. So it's sort of the baby to the mommy of the cars.
Sure.
And on the other side, Jeep brought out hybrid gas. Jeep is in a lot of trouble. I'm sure the dealers are aware of that.
There's no question about it.
And then, of course, they make a statement that they've got 2 years to turn the brand around, and they've already pretty much beat up the Chrysler and Dodge brand lines. No more Quadrifoglio for Alfa Romeo, no more Abarth for Fiat. And to me, taking away Demon, Hellcat, all the performance, that's what made the Stellantis brand special.
I know.
You want to go drag racing?
Crazy.
Stellantis all day long. But now they've removed that, and I'm really concerned about what's going to happen with the current CEO. My gut tells me that the board's probably going to replace that person, but whoever does replace them has to be able to bring back what Lee Iacocca did.
Yeah.
The minivan, having a K car, something that brings customers back to the dealers.
They need some silver bullet, and they need it fast because they're losing the confidence of not just the consumers, but really the dealers as well. I've interviewed a number of them here at CBT News, and they are upset. It's not.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it's not looking.
There's 3 brands I'm really, really concerned about. Number 1 brand I'm really concerned about is Jaguar, that ridiculous presentation.
Yeah.
I did have it at the end of the LA Auto Show. I went to a Land Rover event, and I got to talk with an internal who I won't mention, but someone very high up.
Okay.
And I asked very kindly, what was your thought process? Because I really wanted to hear, maybe this is very smart, and they got all $1 billion of unearned exposure from
Tell me something. Video. Right.
What's the car? So what we've seen, the door handle and the quarter. So December 2nd, they're releasing the car at Art Basel, or at Basel, if you want to say it that way, in Miami. I'm waiting for my opinion till then.
Okay.
But they said we need to make changes but they don't care about their current customer base.
I know.
Which blows me away, because as a car collector myself and many friends that own Jaguars, and I race a Jaguar that's Ford powered back in the day from 2000, I'm blown away that you would take 100+ years of heritage of racing, of real performance cars.
Yep.
And I drove the last F-Type, and I was like, wow, that's a fun car. What are you doing? You need to have people that are buying cars, and they're all going to be over $100,000. So I'm sure the dealers have some insight.
Yeah.
But I'm very concerned about the brand. When Land Rover's doing so well, they're most likely to use that same skateboard platform and put different top hats on it, an SUV or a sedan.
Right.
But I'm worried because Land Rover's doing so well with their Defender line and with their Range Rover Sport. And they've turned it around. But that's one brand. I'm worried about Stellantis, and I'm also worried about Nissan. They're down 17% production for this quarter. That's huge. That's a huge loss.
That is. They said their profits are 99.
And I feel bad for the dealers. Their franchises, they're kind of stuck.
They are. They said their profits are 99% down.
That's everything. That means you're taking a loss
how you stay in business.
Everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And dealers are feeling it. I've got a number of friends of mine that are Nissan dealers, and they are very, very concerned. Some are standalone Nissan stores. They don't have any other stores to support them. So that's tough.
Wow. That's concerning.
It is.
So the thing is, you don't sell your dealership at this time, just like you don't sell at the bottom of the market, or you don't sell a collector car when the market's soft.
That's right.
You have to wait it out and hope that, I think Nissan has a chance of pulling it out. They've got the investment. The new Kicks is a good car. I really liked it. I think it has potential. And I think they just need to do some revamping. And I'm sorry to say that Carlos Ghosn whole debacle hurt Nissan brand in total worse than it hurt Carlos, I think, in the end. Although it did hurt him. It cost him a lot. But the bottom line is, what happened with that debacle is they lost Jose Munoz.
Yeah, I know.
That was a huge loss.
Yep. And not only did they lose him, but it went to their biggest competitor, or one of them. So now you've got a kind of a double-edged deal there.
Yeah. And so now he's the president of the whole brand globally.
Yeah.
And Jay Chang got moved up to CEO, first non-family member who's going to be running the Hyundai Group.
Yeah. How about that?
I actually know him pretty well. He's a nice guy and really smart. And Jose is not a car guy. He's a very smart marketer. We've only seen a few of those over the career of the auto industry, like Ali Iacocca.
Sure.
And we've seen a few that have really, Mullally for Ford.
That's right.
When those people do pop up, you don't let them go. You give them whatever they need and let them help build a brand. And I think that's what Nissan needs. That's what Stellantis needs. And apparently that's what Jaguar needs.
Yeah, I know. And no question about it. In terms of some of the other legacy U.S. manufacturers, Cadillac and some of those, anything coming out of those camps at all that impressed you?
Ford's doing some other trim levels, a Tremor, Explorer. I do like the GTD coming out as a very expensive car. And you're not going to see those actually going through dealerships till probably third quarter of next year. I mean, they have to be built by Multimatic. Prices are crazy. They're like $400,000 unless you want it totally stripped out, which is a lot of money and a very limited marketplace. But there's profit to be made for the dealers. For General Motors, we didn't see anything there. Matter of fact, they just had what we call in our industry cars on carpet, which means there wasn't a big display. Of course, Cadillac, the Escalade's always going to do well. I worry that they're going to drop the XT4, which, I mean, they got to have some product that can't be all electric.
Right.
The electric SUVs don't sell well in most marketplaces.
Right.
And it concerns me that the dealers are forced to purchase these cars and then consumers aren't buying them. Then you've got an investment in a brick, essentially.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. What's your take on the whole? I don't think we've spoken since you've got Elon Musk now sitting at the right hand of Trump. Good thing, bad thing? I mean, there's mixed results, mixed feelings. It's an interesting deal, right?
Yeah, I was not a fan of Elon Musk to begin with. I think the car build quality is horrid at best. If any car maker of any of the brands that you sell were built, the paint quality and the panel gapping that is in Tesla, we wouldn't be selling any cars. I mean, even a kit car goes together better. However, he has a huge following. He has a huge following. People that love his cars love it. On the other side of that, I found it interesting that it was an interesting strategy. He's hoping the mandate goes away and the tax credit. So he owns the market. Yeah. Because all the car manufacturers are living off of this. They're all
good point. Very good point.
It's a loss on every car they sell. And so they're upping the price of the cars, which the dealers have no control over. And a perfect example is Ford's losing, $44,000 on every single Lightning truck.
Yeah.
The dealers aren't selling them. Initially, they were. Nobody wants them in on trade.
Right.
And so when you look at a Bronco Raptor, which is their like super specialty car, now I own a 22 Bronco Raptor, and they delivered me a 24 to review. And I said, so what's different? Okay, they painted the flares, and they added $20,000 to the price of a comparable build. And I went, and that's why they're sitting on lots.
Yeah,
you make them too expensive without incentivizing them. And it's ridiculous because even if you put an incentive on top of that or some sort of financing deal, it doesn't make it affordable for the consumer.
Right.
And so I'm seeing that across the board, not just with Ford. All the brands are starting to do that because no one makes money on electric cars, not even Tesla. But he was working the tax credits, but he's got other things up his sleeve.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But if he can control robo-taxis, which is they're going to try and fast track that, that will be interesting because he will be the one at the forefront of it.
That's right.
We know they can do autonomous cars. They've been doing it since '09. I rode in an Audi TT from Palo Alto to the CES show in 2009.
Wow.
So I know it exists.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
The problem was government regulations. We still don't have some sort of firewall to keep hackers out, and that's across the board.
Yeah.
We still have an issue with weather, which we can't control, or maybe we can, depends how you look at that perspective. And then, of course, you've got the fact that who's at fault. So the insurance companies don't like this at all because the insurer, let's pick an insurance company, says, wait, hold on, whose fault is it? Is it the software, the company, the owner of the car, the person that they hit? But it's the reinsurance companies behind that write for them. They don't like it either because they know there's going to be a lot of losses.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We've seen by, the Uber taxis, if there's a death, it's going to put a big wet blanket on the whole industry.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It will be interesting to see what happens there with Elon Musk. And, it's no wonder the day after Trump was elected, his stock went up, that he earned another $15 billion in the value of that stock. So $15 billion,
his value outweighs all the car industry.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
But he's a smart guy. He's got SpaceX. They've got Starlink.
Government contracts, the whole deal.
Largest DoD contractor.
Yeah.
So he's there for his own good. He's a very smart man. I have a new respect for him as far as seeing the light and coming to at least the auto industry side.
Sure.
But I do worry for all the car brands that have forced cars on dealers who have made product that are good. They're great product. Everybody's building great product.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if customers don't want it, it doesn't make a difference how good it is.
This is true.
And the dealers get stuck with it, and then they got to lowball it. I mean, I've seen like the Fiat 500e going at like, $49 a month. It's like,
yeah, no, it's crazy. Crazy.
No one's making money on that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So to narrow it down here, or to kind of sum it up a little bit, what is the one takeaway from this year's show that you think every dealer should keep in mind as we go into 2025?
I think the auto shows are wonderful for consumers.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to sit in a whole bunch of different vehicles.
Yep.
You have your salespeople on the floor. So for consumer days, I think that it must stay as we have it.
Yeah.
For media, it's very difficult. It's expensive for us to be flown out. If we're not hosted, we don't attend.
Yeah.
With New York, LA, Detroit has no European brands there. It's basically the domestics. And there's always local shows. So what I think for dealers, if you can get your vehicles to a local show, get your salespeople down there, you'll pick up customers that might be looking at something else and walk by whatever brand you carry and say, that's a really good looking vehicle. And kids do have, as we all know, have impact on making decisions.
Oh, 100%.
They crawl over the car and say,
Yeah.
oh my God, Mom, we need to get this. And it could be a minivan, it could be an SUV.
Right.
I mean, there's amazing vehicles. So I do think that, as we call it, cars on carpet is really good for consumers.
Yeah.
For the media, I think it's pretty much going away, leaving basically New York and LA as the main shows.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Lauren Fix, automotive expert and founder of Car Coach Reports. Check her out online. I'm going to show all the information here, and right underneath this video, you can click directly to her website. You do not want to miss. In fact, follow her across all social, and you'll thank me later. She's bringing you the good stuff about cars and our industry. So, Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thanks.